Hi all, this is my activity for response. I just watched an article called Rio Olympics Zika Opinion Divided Over Threat of the Virus. And I thought this related really well based on Dr. Johnson's suggestion, but also for a couple of reasons. So we've got the World Olympics that's supposed to be held in Brazil. So right there, that's a great example of globalization. You have a ton of different countries coming together. They're utilizing different networks, different modes of communication, modes of transportation, all to come together for this one event that will then be broadcast over, you know, hundreds of countries, and millions of people will be watching it and be engaged. So right there, you've got other modes of people reporting on it, people talking about it, whether that's social media or other CMC type of methods, computer-mediated methods of communication. So that's one aspect. So the Olympics itself is a mode of or an example of globalization. But then once you start to incorporate Zika into it, that's a whole different ballgame. So when I think about this issue, and Zika, first of all, is being called a threat, right? Because it's where mosquitoes are carrying a virus, the Zika virus, that are infecting people, and it's specifically having causing issues with women that are of childbearing years, so that the babies are then born with microcephaly, I never say it right, which is where the baby has an abnormally small cranium, and that complicates a lot of health issues with that. And so right now there's been a confirmed 1,500 cases of this in Brazil, and just to give a little bit of comparison's sake, normally it would be one report, a couple report every like 1,000, maybe even 100,000 people, and now we've got 1,500 reports in the past few months. So it's definitely an issue. Some people are calling it an epidemic, and so they've seen it not only in Brazil, but now we're starting to see it in the U.S. as people are traveling back and forth. So we're seeing a lot of those migration issues and things that we've talked about regarding previous readings. So there are a lot of components here to globalization. And so we're utilizing different networks, we're utilizing modes of transportation. This is certainly going to affect economics, both for the Olympics, which is a huge undertaking for Brazil. They've redone their infrastructure, especially after the World Cup, and getting all of this ready. And so this could have a devastating effect if people decide to not come, not spend money and stay there and participate in the games, both as participants, but even those wanting to observe. And then at the same time, you also have the possibility of just not doing the games or the Olympics at all, which I don't think would happen, purely probably driven by economics, because there's a lot of money at stake for a variety of different stakeholders, but it's something that should be considered. Especially in this article, they mention that an open letter or kind of petition was signed by over 200 World Health experts saying that this is unethical, to have 500,000 people come into a country where there is this epidemic going on. It's a risk to global health, is what one person said. So there, and again, we start to see, this idea of global impact. And the other part, or the other side, is that the Brazil mayor they interviewed, or the Rio mayor, excuse me, and he said that this was an exaggeration, that this was crazy, and that the weather would be cooler and therefore less mosquitoes, and there would be no cases then of the Zika virus or microcephaly, which I don't think that's true. So I think this is becoming a global issue, global concern, and I was very glad the article did not pose it this way. It's not just a women's health issue. I mean, this is bigger than that. So, because it will affect all of us inevitably. And so the city is putting in different precautions and like anti-mosquito protocols, and they're having city inspectors go around and teach people how to safeguard, but it's so built into the culture that they're immune to it. We've always had mosquitoes, we've always dealt with it. It's not an issue here. So kind of trying to penetrate that is probably extremely difficult. But the city says it's working and having positive results. But again, I would kind of want to see their data on that. So anyways, that's my summary of how this issue relates to globalization, and I would encourage everyone to wear bug repellent, especially if you're going to Brazil. All right, thanks.